You like the feel of steel. That for you, at least in your choice of EDC blades, weight really isn't a problem. Maybe it's your EDC system as a whole and that it has more weight carrying capabilities. That because of legalities, maybe personal preference, I hope not, you don't have a gun on your person, extra ammunition, magazines, speed loaders, flashlight, multi-tool, non-lethal defense options integrated as part of your EDC system. By the way, whenever possible, whenever legally possible, and you're ready for the responsibility, I recommend you carry all of those things as part of your system. But maybe you don't. You have more weight carrying capabilities. Or, and this is probably the most likely, you just dig the more substantial blades. You don't mind carrying the extra weight. In fact, maybe you carry 4 of them. I don't know. You like something heavier duty, more substantial in hand, something that inspires confidence when it's time to do that hardcore cutting task. I get it. This review is for you. Welcome to the old school tabletop review of the excellent Spyderco Fred Perrin PPT. I've talked to a lot of TMPers over the years, both in person and online, that have those EDC knife preferences. It's not that they don't like the lighter weight blades. Most of them have them, they carry them, they use them, but their preference is for something like this, the PPT. More substantial. And if it takes a few extra ounces to have those capabilities, which whether they're real or just perceived, it really doesn't matter when we talk about second kind of cool, they're like, hey, I'm good with it. It's coming along, and they like that extra weight in their pocket, and more importantly, in hand when they're actually using the tool. And that's exactly what an EDC blade is. It is a tool. By the way, PPT stands for the designers Fred Perrin, Philip Perotti, Sasha Thiel. And my understanding, Fred Perrin was primary on designing this knife. Kind of a superstar, that Fred Perrin. Don't know him personally. I'll probably meet him sometime, maybe at SHOT, somewhere at a knife convention. But he was an ex-French Army commando, martial artist, stick fighter, knife maker, and I think somewhere along the way he designed a special griddle, i.e. grill for hamburgers. Oh wait, that was, never mind, George Foreman. I'm getting those mixed up. Oh yeah, I'm just messing around. But yeah, so he's done a lot, and this is a creation of Fred Perrin. By the way, I love his fixed blades. They're Fred Perrin fixed blades, which I've shown you. I haven't really reviewed the Street Beat, but that's also a very sick blade. Love it. Let's get into the talking points. I'll attempt to stay organized and as short as I can. Old school means information and talk only. No music, no fancy stuff. How about philosophy of use? I would say primarily, like I kicked off the video with, an EDC blade. One you can do your daily cutting tasks with. And I would say hard use EDC blade. Kind of on the large size for me. I've said that before. It's a 3.2 inch blade, 80 millimeters, not quite 3.2 inches, close enough. Little bit on the big side. I know, you guys, there's so many guys saying, what? It's just perfect for EDC. Actually, it's not too big at all. But let me just show you by way of reference of what my EDC system is today, and this is just for by way of illustration. Let's see, I've got my primary tactical blade is an old style cold steel Voyager. What? In Tanto blade? Fancy, I didn't think you liked Tanto blades. Sometimes I do. I love this one. It's a nasty transition right there. Nasty. Okay, so this is a very lightweight, very large, as you can see, tactical blade. This is defensive duties for today's system choice. And then my EDC blade, just reviewed, SOG Mini Aegis. Okay, so I'm carrying 2 knives. The reason I bring that up is because I'm showing you that I have a more specialized blade for my cutting tasks. I think for folks running around and they have one blade for EDC knives, their EDC tasks, maybe, just maybe, flexing into the tactical POU emergency defensive tool, the Fred Perrin PPT will rock and roll. That blade length, 3.2 inches, is going to be adequate in that role. It has a very good traction plan. We'll talk about that. Okay, that's the first philosophy of use as I see it. That is an EDC blade. It, for most folks, will just excel in that role. How about this collectible? I love throwing this POU in. It's fun. This is probably a limited production Spyderco knife. Just like we see often from Spyderco, right? It's out for a few years. It sells. Maybe it doesn't sell. I'm talking like a lot. and then it's gone. Maybe it comes back, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's gone forever. You know, I think its striking looks, and the Fred Perrin PPT is just a very handsome knife, is enough reason to own it, especially if you're a Spidey fan, and I am a Spidey fan. You may have guessed that in the last 3 years of the Nutnfancy project. Lots of reviews. Yeah, collectible. Tactical, I kind of touched on that already. I think it is adequate. I prefer a longer blade, just like that. Okay, your mileage may vary. I think the weight and balance, well, let me get this. The balance is excellent. The weight, however, for me, my mileage is not excellent. I know, I started the whole video off with that spiel on about hard use blades, but because my EDC system consists of so many things, all the stuff I enumerated, I'm generally looking to save weight on my blades if I can possibly do it. Never mind if I integrate it into some type of tactical system. Then it's even more important, or even better, a backpacking system. This is not a knife I would ever go backpacking with. Weight, 5.2 ounces. That's a lot for an 80 millimeter long blade. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm going to show you some competitive offerings, some from Spyderco, some not, later in the video, and I'll show you what I mean. But getting to that second kind of cool that some folks have, and that is their preference for the heavier duty blades, those people are going to love this blade. They're just going to go ballistic over it. It's very cool that way. For me, it's a heavy duty feel. It's a heavy duty carry too. I know it's in my pocket. I don't forget that it's in my pocket, and yes, for me, it's a little bit heavy, maybe a little bit clunky. That's just the weight. However, like I said, once it's in hand, there comes that confidence. It's a serious blade. Steel and blade shape. Well, S30V is the choice for the PPT. Hey, I just rhymed. That's kind of cool. Full flat ground, no less. That's cool. Tapered spine swedge there on top. Let's take a look at the tip of the PPT. Pretty good balance between precision and strength, if you ask me. And I love that FFG blade. I really do. But wait a minute, Nutnfancy. That is a Wharncliffe blade. You have been paying attention in the Nutnfancy project. You're right. And I normally do not like Wharncliffe blades. I think they wear too much. They have no belly. For my cutting tasks, we're talking everyday carry, utility cutting here, I just don't dig them that much. In fact, if this was a pure Wharncliffe blade, I would not be reviewing it. Too many other cool blades awaiting camera time here in the Nutnfancy project that will come first in line. This is not pure Wharncliffe though. Notice the belly. The up sweep as it goes towards the tip. That allows it to do some roll cutting, and actually in my estimation will make it wear and tear a lot better. Look at the relief edge, by the way. And this one is razor sharp out of box. Perfect relief edge. Love that relief edge. It's not like too abrupt, which we see in so many factory produced blades. Kind of a satin finish on there. You can see the markings on the blade. Overseas produced. Yep, quality control from what I can see on this is just phenomenal. Really excellent. So the blade shape is great for EDC. I generally will like something with a little bit more belly. I'll show you at the end what I'm talking about, but I think for most folks it'll rock and roll with a blade shape. Here comes a little jump ahead to ergonomics. Check out the jimping. Kind of a trademark from Fred Perrin. He jimps his blades so awesome. Yeah, his fixed blades are jimped well. It gives you a perfect control over the blade. Kind of a half choil right here. You can lock it in, you can choke up. A lot of precision, a lot of control for that heavy duty cutting task that's going to be called upon to do. Probably cutting tomatoes, right? Cleaning fingernails, I don't know. All those non-glamorous tasks we have to do with our blades. I love the blade steel, by the way. CPM S30V, great blade steel. More expensive. It accounts for a lot of the cost of the PPT. Not rust, but it's more rust resistant. A little bit harder to sharpen, maintains an edge well. A current favorite of a lot of people that know a lot about blade steels, that's CPM S30V. Homogeneous steel. I've talked a lot about it before. It's a great choice for that. Here we go to speed. Probably forgot some stuff on blade shape. I may come back. Speed is excellent. It's a non-assisted blade. Okay, but it's very balanced. Phosphor bronze bushings in there. Typical from what we see from Spyderco, right? Generally, well, heck, all of their blades are that way. They come out easily. The lockup is incredible. Very tight. And check this. It is not a liner lock. It's a frame lock. How cool is that? The G10 handle scales kind of make it look like a liner lock. It's not. This is a stainless steel frame lock. By the way, that's where all the weight comes from. Any stainless steel framed folding knife is going to be heavy. Even though, like in this version, not version, but in this knife, the PPT, here comes the Preon 2, checking it out. It's milled out inside, as much as they could, I guess. Trying to save some weight. Back to strength, though. You can see the lockup about 1/3 to half on the back of the blade there. Really solid lockup, and this gets to what those folks that I talked about at the beginning really, really like, and that is a strong knife that's not going to fold on them, not going to fail them, something they can have a lot of confidence in. Maybe it's a farmer. I mean, those farmers, and I've known a few in my life, and I've done some farm work in my life, they really cut with their blades, and I think this would be a good choice. A very stylistic choice, by the way. Great strength, lockup, solid, no movement left or right, up and down. You can adjust the pivot point if you had to do it. Speed is wicked, just wicked. Really easy to fold again too, single hand. That is a very cool locking choice. Kind of a Chris Reeves integral lock choice. And the thing I like about it is this G10 scale here prevents hyperextension. So where you could actually over tweak your frame lock and actually screw it up. Happened, seen it, talked about it on camera before. Great lockup and strength, and that is, I think, the heart and soul of one of the key benefits of the PPT. Handle material. How Jurassic Park is that milled G10? Doesn't that just look so Jurassic era? I love it. There's a couple other blades I've reviewed on the camera here in TMP that I've said I really like that style of milling. I just am really attracted to it. This is one of my favorite aesthetic features of the PPT. I think against the shape of the blade, overall thematically, it's really cool. Really cool. Screw together construction. Not exactly full, actually it's partially open on the back is what I'm trying to say. How about this though? Ergonomic jump ahead. Kind of some sharp shoulders on it. Talk about that sometimes. It is. In hand, how does that feel ergonomically? Well, it feels sharp-shouldered to me, if you want to be honest. It does. I can feel it right there. I'm thinking about it, and that's kind of how I judge it. Am I thinking about it? If I'm thinking about the cutting task or whatever else I'm doing, then I know it's probably a pretty comfortable knife. I do think about the sharp shoulders with the PPT. Let me cover this while we're here. Blade centering is perfection. Handle, not handle, but blade retention with the detent, also excellent. And as you've seen on the TMP camera before, sometimes it ain't. Still wearing the tenacious scar there. Just saying. Handle construction is very cool. Maybe not ultimately ergonomic. I already talked about how awesome that jimping is. Lefties, I'll tell you something that perhaps is not awesome, and that is this knife is set up for righties. Yep, from the orientation of the frame lock to the single position, thankfully tip up clip, it's a right-handed knife. So if you're lefty, I don't know if the PPT would be your best choice. Okay, so and speaking of the clip, we'll jump there now. There's both good and bad about the clip, in my estimation. The first, the good. It's a very deep carry clip. Talked about that before, right? How much I love those deep carry clips. But it's hard to get out of the pocket, Nutnfancy. No, it's not. You can either, you don't even need to use a lanyard. You can just, push the knife up from the exterior of the pocket. Bam, there you go. Is it the fastest? Probably not when ultimate speed is a goal. But this includes this very wicked coyote color and black lanyard. These are pretty inexpensive, but it includes it on the knife, and I love it. I left it on. Just looks cool. If you're really trying to hide the knife wherever you're at, you probably, of course, want to take that off. You can see, obviously, it has a lanyard hole here. So deep carry is part of the formula. I guess there's some attempt at jimping on the spine. It's worthless. There's nothing going on there. It doesn't help at all. Okay, so deep carry, here comes some bad stuff. When I got it, it was loose. I really had to crank down what is basically a single torque screw that holds it on. And I'm kind of questioning how durable that is. Check this. Okay, under hard use in pocket, you know, do I hit something? I bend the clip? I'm wondering. Okay. It also has kind of a sharp transition right here, but that could be easily rectified with your own file if you wanted to do that. I mean, I've modified lots of clips on my knives when they're messed up like that. I don't think it's a huge deal, but it is kind of sharp. It will scratch stuff. One other good thing I forgot is it's very wide, and so it will go over those reinforced pockets of those tactical pants we like, 511 True Spec, Condor. This knife fits very good. That's the clip. I wish it was blackened, by the way. I think it would look cooler, and it would be, I don't know, kind of lower key. There you go. That's a clip. Good and bad. Durability. I think it's going to be awesome. Great durability on the PPT is my guess. I mean, it's got a great blade steel. Very strong. The clip, I talked about that already. I think overall, though, people will be very, very happy with the durability. Value. Did I forget some stuff? No, I think I'm good. Value. I'll call it moderate, I guess. In fact, I kind of want to say it's perhaps less than moderate. It's about $130, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, but keep in mind it's an S30V blade. Okay, that's kind of pricey for what is essentially a 3-inch everyday carry knife. For me, I mean, there's all kinds of valuations on what makes a knife worthwhile cost-wise. Let me show you some competitive options since we're in the value. And this is going to be kind of epic. I'm going to have to rip through these, otherwise the video is going to go way long. I think you guys will like it, though. First up, competitive offering, kind of offering the same levels of strength. Maybe not the same levels of specialness, and I hope I've established that. The looks, S30V, that it is a Fred Perrin design. It's a limited edition Spyderco. More or less limited edition, you know what I'm saying. How about this? Voyager, the new model, cold steel, medium sized. Oh, dudes, I love this knife. Love what cold steel has done with the Voyager. 3.8 ounces, AUS 8A, $34. So I could buy 4 of these for that. Sorry, I just got to say it. And it's a lot lighter. And I think the triad lock mechanism will be every bit as strong, if not stronger. This thing's wearing 6000 series liners in the Zytel handle. Great blade. More belly. Told you I was going to show you that. For me, my purposes, a little bit more useful of an EDC blade. Okay, that's a great option. How about the Spyderco Stretch, staying in the family lineup? This is a VG10 version, 3.6 ounces. And I wrote the wrong price down. I think it's going to be, I forget the price. It's going to be less than this, though. Great blade to stretch. Good jimping, good thumb ramp, full flat ground. I love that VG10 steel. Super light, 3.6 ounces. Is it as hard use knife as the PPT? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. There's probably some data out there saying otherwise. Oh, let's go to Benchmade. Mini Onslaught. There you go. Model 746. 3.8 ounces. 154 cm steel. Another favorite of mine personally. Full flat ground. Mostly full flat ground. Sick knife. Lighter than PPT. Let's compare them side by side. A lot more belly with the Mini Onslaught 746. Which one would I opt for? EDC? Do you even have to ask? 746. Keeping it real. How about this one? This is kind of going too big, but I don't know why I'm doing this. It's just kind of funny. 5.2 ounces, new model, Cold Steel Recon. This one has some lint from Cary. Love this. This is more of a tactical blade. Maybe if, I don't know, you like the larger blades, EDC, it dwarfs the PPT. There's a thickness comparison between the two knives. And this Cold Steel Recon new model, thankfully lacking steel liners, much lighter, $57, less than half the price. Okie dokie. There's one right there. Let's go back to the Benchmade lineup. You guys digging this? The Rift. Oh, $950. 4.8 ounces, about $95. Comparing it against the PPT. I don't want you guys to think I'm trying to convince you out of getting a PPT, but I'm showing you some alternatives that pretty much all are lighter weight. And by the way, that Cold Steel Recon, even though it's the same weight, it's a much bigger blade. That's where the weight comes from. Hey, that axis lock isn't going to be as strong as that integral lock of the PPT. Well, I kind of beg to differ. I think the axis lock is extremely strong, and there's lots of guys, I think, who will agree with me on that. I think it'd be a toss-up which one is the harder use knife for the hardcore mafia out there. I classify this as a hard use tactical blade, the 950 Rift. Cheaper than the PPT, I'm just saying. What else do I got here? Oh, I got an old Cold Steel American Lawman. The new version is much lighter, 4.6 ounces, Aus 8 steel. So it's lower quality steel, about $62. This is a hard use knife. Okay, and the new model, of course, wearing that triad lock. And then one more to show you, and then I'm going to wrap it up. Finally, the Cold Steel Espada G10 medium knife. Look at that sick blade. 5.2 ounces, $66 more or less. Aus 8A steel. So yes, the steel is going to be less. Look at the belly. To me, this is a compact fighter. This knife right here. It really, well, again, to me, that's just how I interpret it. It is a fighting knife. Comparing it against a PPT, it's a bigger knife, and yet it's the exact same weight. Okay, thinner too. Doesn't carry as deep. High traction G10. There you go. Couple of different knives you might consider on the PPT. Upsides. Well, let me start with the downsides of the PPT. One, I already said it, it's heavy. To some, that'll be an upside. To others, it'll be a downside. And I kind of classify it as that because of my system, my preferences. Okay, the clip. Don't know how durable that will be over time. It has some upsides, downsides, talked about it. Not a ton of belly in the blade. Sharp corners on the side. Those are a couple of downsides. The rest is all good. I mean, it looks good. It's a very handsome blade. Love the sculpting of the G10 handle scales. Lots of strength is promised by that integral lock, which is protected by that G10 handle scale. Awesome jimping. Despite the sharp corners, actually pretty good overall ergonomics. Value, Spyderco PPT. If you like a hard use, classy, and distinctive folding knife, you might want to check it out. Might want to add it to your collection. That is the Nutnfancy review. Thanks, guys.